Hello, everybody, and welcome to the DnDebrief. This is another. We're going to come right out of the gates with the truth on this one. It's another pre-recorded episode.
We should remember to say. Right, okay. I'm going to remember to say something in chat. Say something in chat, Shamini.
Oh, yeah.
And then I'm going to respond to it.
Shamini, you're so funny. Wow, what a great joke.
Thank you.
Oh
Wow.
wait, what the fuck just happened? Hang on, I've done some. Okay, all of our videos froze for a second then, and I'm not sure why.
It was Shamini's excellent joke.
No. The audio was there, but the video was lost for some reason. So don't worry. That's fine. That's the only technical glitch. Every stream we have to
Now
have
that we
one
had
technical
one,
problem.
now that
It's
we've had
happened
one,
now,
we're
yeah.
good. We're done. Yeah,
Exactly.
Cool. Good.
I hope
Ali
you're...
still looks frozen, but I think he might just be staring.
Oh no, you're right. Oh shit, I didn't know.
Ali, no, he's
I
doing
froze in
that.
real life. Sorry, I froze in real life.
Bates, how did you know? That was really good.
He was very slightly moving.
That was really good. I liked that.
Son of a bit.
Not
Right,
properly
I hope
good.
you're doing well, Twitch chat. Sorry we can't be here in person, but this time, is it just me again that can't make
Hello, me
Thursday?
on Twitch chat.
Yes,
Oh,
so-
sorry.
It's just me. Okay, I'm in Yorkshire. Sorry, everybody. And famously, Yorkshire has not had internet installed yet. So we can't stream from there, basically. So, yeah, this one is another pre-recorded. If you didn't see last week's episode, then that was also pre-recorded. And we were just saying before we started, in a very self-congratulatory manner, it's one of our best episodes, I think. It was...
When we didn't have to talk to you.
We were saying that, yeah.
Maybe we should do this every team. Is Critical Role live every week?
They used to be, but they don't talk to anyone. They just...
Right.
I feel like Exandria Unlimited has had a few not live ones.
No, they pre-record. It used to be. It's not anymore, but they're all pre-recorded.
When they first started, they used to look at chat, and then chat just started.
And there were so many people that they couldn't talk to it. so-
Critical Role is pre-recorded.
Impossible.
Yeah, because of the pandemic, they started pre-recording it.
What if we pre-recorded our chat and then live
So get
streamed the
people
video?
to Yes, people can, and then what we have to respond to whatever
We
chat
have to respond to
says.
the chat.
Yeah,
and it's
so
all
it'd be like,
fixed.
oh, I can't believe
They
Simon
can't
fluffed that
respond.
role. It's like a pretty
Oh,
solid
you have to,
bet
like-
to put in, you know. Like, I think we should give that a go. We should break new
Oh
ground.
no,
Do it the other way
Tenebris has failed 2 death saves already.
Straight on the intro.
Don't tempt fate, given what might happen next session. Okay.
I
How
am-
many hit points do you even have? Like,
Not
We
I.
don't have many.
7?
We're still
I'm the
level
tank,
1.
and I think I've got like 11.
you're kind of squish bags, aren't you? Yeah.
Level 1.
Yeah, we're level 1.
Six.
I've used all my spells. We are
Still level 1.
in trouble.
So
Six.
very one.
I have
Currently,
6 hit points.
I'm 2 down from the cold.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Gonna die.
Oh my
I'm
god,
gonna
and that
die.
takes you
I
to
actually think
6.
someone might die. I'm just gonna.
Yes!
We have one
And
healing.
you have no healing spells, do you?
We have one healing potion.
I don't have a backup character either. I really
And
hope
I
don't
already
die.
introduced the
I did.
characters, so there's no way out of that.
Cass will
Cass will
murder you
murder
in
us.
real
Yeah.
life.
Ali, we can't afford more character art. We
Yeah.
can't die.
Yeah.
Real death.
If Infinite
Real
Sky
death,
goes
really.
down, we could just try and find another Infinite Sky robot, and then the character art would be exactly the same.
That's nicely done. That is nice. You don't know what's down there, do you?
Maybe Tenebris
Yeah.
has a twin
Evil
sister that
Infinite
she's never
Sky.
mentioned.
That would be.
That would be really chilling if, like, before
be
the fight,
cool,
you
actually.
notice another android that's exactly the same, and you're like, why is that?
No, because he's got ideas, so now he
Yeah,
thinks he can
stop
kill me, and I
giving him the
really don't
ideas.
want to die.
Don't
that would
kill
be
I
him.
love her.
Don't kill
I
Infinity.
love her.
It sounds
Not
like the
level
android's
one,
getting
it's not fair.
self-aware. I think
Because-
that confirms you as a life form.
You could do it, couldn't you? If you just switched like the alignment, right, and then everything else is the same, and no one knows that it went. That's like you're just like, oh, Infinity, you're alive.
And I am
people.
chaotic evil now.
And like that, the illusion was shattered.
I could go back to the robot voice that I planned on doing for Infinity before I just turned her into a child.
What was it? What was it?
No, she's not.
It was
She's
just
great.
It was just like a bit more
Right.
like C-3PO, but I started talking and it didn't really work. So
Cold
I
and
just,
unfeeling.
I
Yeah.
like Infinity. Don't change it.
Right, I feel like we've already gotten off track. So,
yeah, okay, yeah.
what we're about to do, people who are watching the live stream, we are going to roll our intro video as illustrated by the beautiful Cass, and then we're going to go into the D&D brief. So this is of our 2 shows, this is the show where we're going to talk about the science of what we've run into so far in the story, and it's the other weeks where we actually do the D&Ding. Like, there's no actual D&D today, it's just the science.
Isn't happening until September now. Like we don't do
Not
that
as far as
until
next week.
September.
Yeah,
That's
so,
actually
but we're only
not
missing
far,
1
though.
week.
It's not that far. It's fine. Yeah,
No,
we're
but
skipping
it
a week and
feels
then we're back
really-
on the first.
Come on, compared to other
Right.
D&D campaigns, we have been very consistent.
Compared to our home game, my god.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, home game. Let's
That's coming. It's coming back. It's like Christmas.
Well,
Right.
it's coming back. We are playing. But
We'll roll the intro and then we'll see you on the other side for the D&D brief.
Hello, everybody. We are the RP Geeks, and welcome to the D&D Brief. This is our awesome science chat show where we discuss the scientific shenanigans that have happened in our D&D adventures. Now, last week, various fun times were had in the D&D game. If you missed that, don't worry. We will fill you in on some of the plot. Maybe I might ask Ali to fill you in on some of the plot. And then we've got a couple of exciting scientific topics that we're going to discuss related to things that came up.
Ali looks terrified to fill anyone in on the
Really
plot.
sad. I don't have my notebook with me, so I don't know what happened. You have to do it, Ali. It's okay.
All I know is that you shushed somebody so convincingly that it blew up on TikTok.
Well,
That was 2
wasn't
sessions
us.
ago.
Yeah,
Oh
that was
god,
2
that was 2
sessions ago.
sessions. It's bloody hell.
Yeah, that was great. You should also go
Yeah,
back.
know my fear, Simon. That's the kind of mistake which would be that would destroy me.
I can do it, but it won't be very good because it'll be an infinity style.
Oh, I'm ready.
Found a slug.
I'm ready. It's just so much stuff dropped last episode. I've just got to be really careful that I don't give anything away. Like so much shit went
For us,
down.
yes, please.
Right, so yeah.
Ooh.
Wait. Oh, do you actually want me to do it?
No. Wait. Let's intro first. We'll come to you last. So everyone knows who we are.
Professionals.
My name's Sharmini. I use she, her pronouns. I'm a video science journalist. I make lots of cool films. Follow me on Twitter and TikTok. Yeah, it'd be great. Bates.
I am Emily Bates. I use she, her pronouns, and I also make science videos and stuff. Simon?
Hello, I'm a cat dad and Warhammer addict, and I support myself by making videos about science on the internet. And that just leaves
Me. I am also a dad, but not of cats, and I make films about science and
Name's
also
Ali, by the way.
My name's Ali. Thank you.
You know us
Oh,
by
and
now.
he, her. I use he, him. I don't use he, her. I use he, him pronouns.
the double
Great.
face palm.
Going
It's very
great.
rare, but it happened.
All of us just like,
And Ali, what happened in the last session? Can you remind us?
Yeah, put your
Oh,
fingers in your
yeah.
ears if you want to go back later and don't
Yeah. Don't listen to this. Spoilers. The glorious party, after having survived a encounter with a very large bird, ended up just outside the camp where they made friends with the drivers of a nicely painted truck, snuck inside the camp, and went to stake out a location that they thought would reveal the smugglers to them. Unfortunately for them, or who knows, maybe fortunately, no one turned up.
That was a very
is that a
theatrical.
telling cough? Was that if they showed up, you will be dead now?
So, as the cold night set in, they sought shelter within the mine, where they met an interesting-looking person. They followed that person down into the shaft, and
There were 3
then they
shafts,
reached
actually.
but they were all kind of joined together, so meh. And then they reached the bottom and followed her footsteps and ended up in a secret cave where they encountered some no good nicks. Well, they might be good nicks. We don't know,
That's
really.
actually
Except
true.
they
That's
have
true.
instantly
Friends.
attacked them. They
Oh,
have
yeah.
instantly attacked
Oh,
them.
yeah.
So
They haven't attacked yet. They've just, they've got a rock
Only in, like,
chainsaw.
So we roll initiative, which kind of in D&D world means that things are happening, but everything's happening.
You don't
Basically,
normally roll
we're the
initiative
bad
for
guys.
conversation.
yes, did you ever think that you're the bad nicks?
Yeah.
Oh god.
break into the mine.
We're the murder
Like,
hobos.
We did break into the mine,
And you've knocked someone out as well.
You tried to cast Charm Person on the person who said you can't come
You've done
in.
all the wrong things.
I think that was a good move. I think, talking of charm
It was,
person,
but I don't think she would think that.
Well, we have two
That's the
topics
name of the
today.
show.
We have two topics today, and we thought that because basically the two things that came up that we wanted to talk about was that charm person incident, and there was also whilst we were hiding in like an IKEA storage thing in the bus,
That was cute.
Under a seat.
under a seat,
Crammed.
um,
Yeah, with a
our
toothbrush.
three characters
They're
were.
they're the cutest. I love them all so much.
We were all in like a bundle.
With a switch.
If it was like transparent, there was like very little air that was left in this thing, and so Infinity created the smell of lavender to calm everybody down, and the other characters didn't know what it was, and
Which was alarming.
My mind.
so there were two. That was the other topic that I wanted to talk about, which was scents and the idea of people not knowing what scents are possibly in the far future. And I was saying before we started recording that. It's quite depressing, so I suggested that maybe I should do this one first, so we don't end the show on a downer.
Oh, good.
I mean, charm person
mind
gets
control.
pretty bad. Yeah, so
I mean, take your pick.
we've made our bed. Let's lie in it.
Look, it's going to
I'm
be a dark
already in it.
episode, guys. Buckle in.
Oh, well, in that case, Ali, you said you wanted to go first, so over to you.
I can do it, but I'm kind of ready to hear about the sadness of a space without smells. Just hit.
Roll
Okay.
a dice.
on
Both
me.
of you roll a d20.
I don't
Okay.
have my dice in front of me.
Yes. Oh, Simon.
Then I
rookie
guess
Hang
I'll have rolled mine
error.
first.
Hey Google,
Show.
roll a d20.
Oh,
No!
cheater.
Such a
How can you-
nerd.
I got a 5.
Said
Wait,
Simon.
is Noah
right.
High going first?
Hang on.
Oh,
God.
whoa.
I don't know.
I think
You're the DM on this one.
Hi.
I got a
High
6.
wins.
Ali's first.
It's amazing.
Jesus.
Ali, yeah, you go first.
D20. Let me just get these dice back in there. Right.
Oh, thank you for those 50 gift subs, whoever just gave those.
Wow, you're so nice.
Oh,
What a
yeah.
hype
Incredibly
train.
generous. Thank you.
What's a hype?
Did you say what a hype train?
I
Is
know
that a thing?
Twitch.
I like your remotes and the commands where you put an exclamation mark in the front. Good work, chat.
Watching you guys learn Twitch last time was,
So good.
was like,
Oh,
So cool.
there's a new command. If you do exclamation mark slimy, it will do a little song about the slug.
what? No.
Yeah.
I was not made aware of this.
Danby put it in.
God's sake. Of course it was Dan.
The mods have turned on you.
Right. Okay, so you are going first then, Ali.
Yes.
Tell us about charmingness.
Charmant. Okay, right. So here's my thinking. Charm person. All right. So just to wind back a second. Infinity. The whole gang is trying to get into this mine shaft, and they've got to get through a door to get into the sort of the mine proper. And there's someone guarding the door, and Tenebris tries to just charm her way in. Doesn't get very far. So Infinity casts Charm Person, and what Charm Person does, if it succeeds, it gives you an advantage on any charisma.
No, that's
Check.
friends. Charm person.
No.
Charm person is more than that.
You must make a wisdom. If it charmed by no, but charm, the charm.
Effect, condition of being charmed.
The charm
Yes,
creature regards you as
thank
a
you.
friendly acquaintance. Like,
Yes, but totally correct. But charmed, the condition means you have an advantage on any ability check to interact socially with the creature, which essentially means
Yeah.
any advantage on charisma checks.
Yeah.
And you can't attack. The charmed creature won't attack you,
Yeah.
which is different from just an advantage. So yeah, it's a little bit more, but so basically they're your supermate. They never want to hurt you unless you hurt them, and you get advantage on essentially on charisma saving throws. But you also have to make a wisdom saving throw, and if you succeed on the wisdom saving throw, then nothing happens, which will become important later.
Which is what happened in our
Which
case.
is in fact what happened.
Yes,
yeah,
that
which is what happened
That is
because
exactly
level 1.
It did not work.
No,
Sad
because
time.
Who needs a spell
nat
this
20. It was
easy?
a nat 20.
Yeah, but also my spell
That
DC is
was a-
low. Like
Is it? Ooh.
What is it?
14.
Maybe
Like
might want to
that's
work on that.
it's good. Level me up then, Ali.
You might want to work on
I
that.
have 18 in wisdom. It's a good spell DC for level 1. But
It's really good. It's
quite
really
good.
good. I'm not arguing that. Just
you just said you
Just
might want to
wish
work on that.
wish it was better. Okay. So, right. Here is my thinking. Charm person is essentially all about suggestiveness, right? If what it's doing is giving you an advantage on charisma saving checks, what it's making you is more suggestive to that person, right? You're more likely to take their word or do what they say or whatever, right?
I'm
Yes,
being
that.
suggestive.
That.
Ellie.
It's not just.
Suggestive.
Stop.
Simon
it.
wiggled his eyebrows at the camera. Sir,
Stop tattling on me.
I have to, because otherwise everyone blames me in chat.
You do get a lot of stick in chat. It's true, guys.
Oh, bonk.
So, yeah.
It's a stupid word. It's a stupid word for what happens. Anyway,
It is a
sorry.
silly word. It's a silly word. Okay, right. So, suggestiveness, right? My first thought was drug-induced suggestiveness, right? So this is going to get dark well quickly because has anybody heard of scopolamine?
No.
No.
Okay, scopolamine
Is it real?
It is.
Sounds like
It's a
kind
drug.
of shellfish. Sounds like a kind of scallop.
It's
I like scallops.
far from it. The most
damn it.
evil of scallops. It's called, one of its names is the devil's breath. I don't know if anybody actually
God.
calls it that. It's like, like you look on internet sites and they say often known as this thing. Like I've never heard it called that before ever. No one ever uses that expression. But, so scopolamine is a drug that you can give to someone which essentially puts them into a more receptive state. And, I should have looked it up. Anyway, so come back to me after the end of Simon's because I'm going to tell you exactly how it works because I forgot to do that and I should definitely know that. But just on top of that, scopolamine is quite old, right? It was around in the 50s, 60s. It's not really a kind of drug you would have heard of. GHB, you might have heard of. Rohypnol, you'll definitely have heard of, right? These are drugs which enhance your suggestibility.
Right.
yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that.
They enhance your suggestibility.
I just
Is that really
assumed
what
they made you drowsy. I have to admit, I didn't realise that this was how,
No,
that's how they
so
work.
alcohol is another one. Alcohol enhances your suggestibility.
That's true.
That's no. I see that.
So they have lots of other effects as well, but they're all doing roughly the same thing.
So you're
in terms of
suggesting that
suggestibility.
Bates is going up to this old woman in the mine and just like spraying
Infinity,
vodka.
not Bates, please. Please.
Sorry,
Yes.
Infinity is going up and just being like, "You want to let us in?"
It's drugging people.
Well, that was my first thought, right?
Well,
That was where
What
my
about
first went.
First thought was let's drug her. Now I was just gonna say, like, is susceptibility like a easily definable thing in terms of behavior or what the brain's doing and stuff? Like, 'cause I can imagine like psychologically you can do it, but like,
That's a great question.
I don't think like physically you can, but I know when I was, I've done a test of suggestibility before because that's how they find people for studies for hypnosis trials. Because if you have high suggestibility, you're more likely to be able to be put under hypnosis. And I have quite high suggestibility. So apparently you can just tell me to do things. I'm like, sure.
Sounds good.
useful knowledge. I'm going to take a note of this for later.
But I'm left-handed, so they never want me for any brain trials because
You're a freak.
they only want right-handed people.
That's so sad.
I'm really, really sad about it.
It's also missing
Well,
out on
you'll
good
never
data.
Yeah. Anyway, that's my
Good
sad.
fact about brain trials as well, though. Like left-handed people, it's 10% of the population just unstudied.
Yeah. But it's just because that you're more likely to not have your language center in the side of the brain that everyone else does. So
Oh right.
that's the only reason.
Is it not 100% correlation? Is it not just straight flipped? Is it,
No, not at all. So I
it's
think
like
it's
50-50 or something.
No, I don't know the numbers, but I think so. In right-handed people, it's like 98% of you. I'm using you. You common
people.
the norms.
Your normie
Your language
brains.
center will be in the left hemisphere of your brain. So
Right.
correlate left hemisphere teaching right hand. Whereas in left-handed people, it's still more common to have your hemisphere in the left hemisphere, but it's something like 75% of left-handed people, whereas 25% have it in the right hemisphere. And then, or not even 25. And then it's more common that you have, what's it called? Ali, do you know what it's called? Where you have it in both hemispheres. Bilateral? No, that might not be right.
Bilateral does mean on both sides.
Yeah, it might be that bilateral language hemispheres. So left-handed people are more
that
likely
was
to
a
have
thing.
that as well.
How can that even be possible? Because you have to. Okay, no, look, we're getting off track here.
Sorry.
But
Brains
bilateral
on
language
podcast.
centers. Bilateral language centers, I like. I will find out about
We
that.
can talk about
Because I was like, when I was in school, I
another
remember
time.
like you were told that like you had certain processes that were left brain and certain that were right brain. Is that like a thing that is
Yes.
still believed, or is that out of date?
there are some things that happen on one side of the brain or the other, but it's not always the same side for everyone, and it's not really like
There is-
your left side. So your left hand is controlled by your right hemisphere, and so the left side of your body is all controlled by each side of your body is controlled by the opposite hemisphere. That is correct. But then the more nuanced things like language and things.
There is laterality.
There is laterality, but it can cross both.
But the sort of more urban myth thing is that like left-handed people are, I don't know, more creative or.
I thought, is it?
or
Yeah,
I think
and
that's
right-handed
been
mathematics.
something,
I
And,
think that might.
And there's no like left brain, right brain. That none of that is really
that.
a thing. No.
I'm not sure.
Analytical
Yeah,
brain,
that is.
emotional.
You can definitely pick up different, like, different readings in different parts of the brain from brain imaging that are only on one side versus other side, depending on what you do. But as to what it means, maybe we should do a D&D brief on that.
Yeah, but yes, all to come around to suggestibility is a thing that they do. There are ways of measuring. So it's like what they made us do was, well, they just suggested a lot of things, and then we had to like score what we could actually like feel like we were sensing and stuff. I remember in one of it they were like, imagine there's a fly buzzing around. It's like basically putting you into a deep sense of relaxation. It's basically trying to hypnotize you.
Is it like the Voight-Kampff test from Blade Runner?
What was that?
You know
No,
what I'm going to say, don't you?
They're looking at your pupils.
haven't
It's a bit-
seen
Not seen Blade Runner.
Oh, like it doesn't have.
That's like required
it doesn't
reading
have
for this
Brendan
whole
Fraser
campaign.
in. That's why.
Brendan Fraser does
Get
Blade Runner.
That'd be cool.
I'd watch it. I do want to watch
Brendan
Blade
Runner.
Runner. I will watch it. The original though, right? Not the new one.
No,
Not the
2049
Brendan
is
Fraser one.
2049 is also excellent.
Oh, okay, I'll watch.
Is it?
Oh, I definitely. I think it's one of those sequels that might be better than the original.
What?
I honestly think that.
Trek 2.
Welcome to the
that's better
death
than
of
the
your
original.
character, Simon.
Chat's got my
how's it?
back, haven't they?
Thanks.
Right?
Chat.
Chat agree with me that Shrek 2 is the best sequel. The film that's better than the
Empire
previous.
Strikes Back.
Doesn't really
Yeah.
count. There's so many of them.
Nailed it.
Toy Story 2, is that better than Toy Story 1?
No, Toy Story
No,
one's
no,
just
it's
a
not better.
masterpiece.
It's good. It's not better.
Okay, wait, look, just pulling us back just for a second, right?
I want
This
a
is-
compilation of Ali trying to bring us back on topic from various
Children.
D&D groups as well.
Children.
Come on.
The suggestion of things, the hypnosis, I also thought about that, but I did try and look into the science of it, and I couldn't make head nor tail of it. Like, they're like, oh, you can hypnotize people doing these things, but there doesn't seem to be a clear, like, mechanistic way that it happens. They're just sort of like, you
That's
just do
weird.
this thing and it happens.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, I'm not a hypnosis expert. If someone out there knows, like, the brain stuff behind it, if there is a real, like, pathway that you can always... let me
I
know.
don't think
'cause
you
I
can
would be interested.
stimulate a brain to hypnosis. I've done a bit on hypnosis in my degree, in my final year, and there's no sort of pathways that I'm aware of. It's just a deep sense of sort of relaxation, and all these people being chickens isn't really what they study and stuff like that. But it is very
I
interesting.
mean, how much of it is just like, I have to pretend to be a chicken or this is very awkward? for
It's
me?
exactly what it is. There's suggestibility. It's but you sort of feel that, but not necessarily in like the front of your brain. You sort of feel it deep and
It's this
kind of
idea
push
of,
it
like,
down. Just so relaxed.
unconscious
It's-
suggestibility.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've been hypnotized. I can be hypnotized, and but you don't do anything you don't want to do. And I was very aware that I was hypnotized, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I just
that
wanted to do
makes no
everything. I just
sense.
wanted to do what they were saying. They were like, "Hey, imagine you're sitting." I think it was like I was on a deck chair pretending I was in the sun, and it was lovely. And I was sat there, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm going to do that. That sounds great." But I was very still aware that I was like on a stage being hypnotized.
That seems fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're not trying to gain access to a mine.
Yeah.
Nice.
Would hypnotizing the old woman be less morally awful in any
That's,
way?
yeah.
Than scopolamine.
Yeah. Than the drugs, I feel like yes.
The drugging.
But, well, let me just...
Is there
So
another option?
the thing with the scopolamine and the GHB and the Rohypnol, right, is that the crucial thing about charm person is it only works between you and the target, right? So the target can't be suggestible to anyone else. It can only be suggestible to you.
Oh.
So you can't... scopolamine, GHB, and Rohypnol, they don't work, right? You need to have
Charm
something which is...
person is you and your companions, like, but it can't. Oh no, sorry, is that wrong? No, if one of your
it's
companions
just-
hit them, then it's like, no, I don't like you either now. No, sorry, that's right. You're right.
No, it's just whoever cast it and the creature they
Yeah.
cast it on, the person. So, right, how do you get past that? Hypnosis would be one, but I felt like it just didn't. I felt like I couldn't explain it with science, right? And that also maybe doing it, boom, like that. Although the internet claims it's possible,
Yeah, it's not
I don't know if that's a sort of. It just
takes
didn't seem.
prep and yeah. No.
It didn't seem feasible. So, right, another thing, right, and I stuck with drugs.
Yay!
And I'm thinking,
I love you,
Infinity's
drugs!
going evil. Done.
yeah, now we're thinking, right, what's a drug which would make you be like, oh man, I love you so much. What do you want to come in? Sure, you can
Yeah.
come in, man.
Bang,
Come
bang,
in, come
bang,
in.
bang,
Give me a hug while you're coming in.
Bang, bang, bang. Sorry,
What
go
is
on.
it? What's the answer?
You know what the answer is.
Smoke weed every day. Bam, bam. Shit, we're all on the same page, yeah? Just check.
No. So,
Cocaine.
no.
Okay.
Cocaine would make you like the
Alcohol.
least charming person ever.
Hey, how you doing?
Alcohol.
I think that's
Yeah.
long cocaine. I don't
Have you seen my film? I make films. Jesus. Hey, all right, you can come in.
Ecstasy?
No.
Heroin.
Ecstasy. That's the one.
Yeah, we did not.
That's the one.
We were not on the same page. There was a lot of pages happening.
Yeah.
There's a lot of but
I
we're
went
on
straight
the
to
same.
booze.
Now we're on the same
We're
page.
in the same
Okay.
book.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, right. So a pill is basically just a pro-social thing, right? You're just massively pro-social. Like you like hugging and you like talking and you just like being around people. And there's a lot of other stuff that happens as well. But like the pro-social thing, definitely a major part of it. Now, something
RP Geeks does not endorse the taking
pro-sociality.
of
Stay
drugs.
away from people.
Don't do drugs, kids.
People are evil. Keep away from them.
Even if
They'll
you want,
give you drugs.
even if you want to charm an old woman, do not give her drugs. This has been a PSA.
Sorry.
This has
Finish
been
firing an ecstasy tablet at this old woman.
It just missed her mouth.
Take it. Like me. Be my friend.
Can you
then I'm
aerosolize
thinking, right.
ecstasy? Like, could you just like kind of spray her? Or, like,
But it
Febreze her?
also, but the issue with ecstasy, right, is it's not specific, right? It's not specific to people. You're just happy. You're just a happy camper, right? And anyone's gonna get the benefit of that. But there is one part of the MDMA ecstasy effect on the brain, which is specifically about increasing your pro-social behavior towards one person.
What? How?
There is a chemical
Wow.
which does that, and you all know it.
Oh, oxytocin?
It is oxytocin.
Yes, it would totally be oxytocin. This makes perfect sense.
So they fall in love with you.
Well, it's sort of that general sort of area of stuff happening, right? And oxytocin is released by MDMA, right? It's part of the whole thing. Nobody knows if it is responsible for all the effects, but it certainly it gets blasted up somewhere along the line.
So oxytocin is the thing with like romantic relationships and mothers and babies.
They call it the
Boom.
cuddle
Mothers-
hormone, don't they?
Yeah,
Oh,
hugging.
if you
It's released by
cuddle, you
hugging,
get-
eye
oh.
contact, mothers and babies, romantic partners, breastfeeding. Those are the big three.
And does
I
it
think.
and does it have to be like a really
Parturition as well. Sorry, parturition.
What's
Sorry.
That
Who with the what now?
Having
As in when
giving
you
birth.
yes, it's giving birth. It's getting. I can't remember exactly which part of giving birth it is, but it's something to do with that.
Oh, okay.
And so oxytocin, like if I hug someone and I'm like oxytocin, like what you're saying is that that emotional effect is directed towards that person. It's not.
Yes, it is a person-specific effect, crucially, right? So,
But
Yeah.
question:
Yeah.
Does it involve everything you've just said? Is a physical touch thing,
no, no, it's a mental.
Babies. No,
but like the cuddles and the
stimulates
like
it.
stimulate. Oh no,
no,
eye contact.
it is
you said-
mental.
You said eye contact. I take it.
Yeah,
back.
yeah. There's
Carry
other
on.
stuff as well, but it's about you building your relationship with that person. It just pumps that relationship up.
Which for
the
human
positive side of it.
evolution would be like actually really useful to be able to be specific and like I
Yeah.
love you and not those other people who I'm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you've just had sex and you're like, I love all of you now.
Certain
Come on
situations,
in.
that's going to be.
Or
it's
you
not
just give birth.
useful. It's just not.
Maybe that's what
You give
bonobos
birth,
have.
and then you're like, any babies are great. All babies are great. No.
Yeah.
Get her out of the maternity ward.
She's in a positive feedback loop.
Every time you hug a
so-
baby,
You're like a Katamari of babies, just like rolling around.
And you just start hearing that music start playing, like "Katamari Dawasi," and you're like, no! And all the doctors running to the maternity ward.
We've got a 311.
Oh, Katamari.
For those of you who don't know what a Katamari is, it's an old video game where you play this character that sticks stuff to it, but then as you like accumulate more stuff, you get bigger, and you can stick bigger and bigger stuff to you.
Makes
so
sense.
you're initially
You roll up
like
the world.
insect size, but then you're eventually like picking up buildings and stuff. So what we're hypothesizing
Planets.
is,
You roll up the
That
universe.
sounds
with
fun.
oh yeah, of course,
Oh,
yeah.
I want to play. That
sounds
sounds
really
great.
good.
Really
Yeah.
good.
But
We
if
put that on
it has a
RP
ma-
Geeks game night.
But if there's a positive feedback loop of like every baby gives you more oxytocin towards all babies, suddenly you're rolling through the maternity ward, just picking up all of these things into a big ball.
This one,
A terrifying ball of newborn.
The sound and the
Screaming
smell
children.
would be awful.
No.
Like,
The sound would be. I can't imagine
would
it.
be
Actually,
worse.
can't. Right, hang on. Wait a second. So
How do we
it's
get on
not
this?
just it's not just humans, right? Because oxytocin is in mammals, right? This is a thing that all mammals use because all mammals rear their young to a greater or lesser extent, right?
Not met my mum.
So
So-
this is what it was a dark episode, and we're going there.
We just went to cuddle hormone. I was feeling all
Yes.
nice and
Oh, sorry.
fuzzy.
We
We went from cuddle hormone to baby ball to like
baby ball. Sorry, as you were.
so.
nearly spat my water out. I'm sorry. Oh.
So, right, oxytocin, and the thing is, a lot of the evidence for oxytocin and the pro-social effect that it has and the specific person-to-person effect actually doesn't come from humans, right? It comes from voles, because voles, there's a prairie vole which mates for life, right? And when you might have heard of this, when it mates, it has, the ones which mate for life have very high oxytocin levels, right? But you can reverse that by blocking oxytocin, and you turn it from being a kind of like monogamous nice vole into just a sort of lad about town. I'm just going to vole out on all voles that I see. And there's even a hormone called vasopressin. I think it's vasopressin, which does the reverse, right? Turns you, and if you block that, then you turn these kind of like, real
The rugby
animals.
lad into like monogamous stay-at-home dad vole.
Yeah, or like
He's
even
wearing
worse than a
sandals
rugby
with
lad.
socks and stuff like that after you block
Yeah,
the
exactly.
hormone.
Yeah.
Exactly, like all these rugby. Anyway, so that's the thing. But actually, there's not that much evidence in humans that it works, right?
Oh.
Like it's well established in the animal kingdom.
Who's
That-
tried?
People
be
try
like-
all the time.
That feels like a really
How?
weird study being
What
like,
kind of
hey,
video?
there's this guy that sleeps around. I know, let's block his vasopressin and up his oxytocin.
Probably.
and
This
see
sounds
if
like
he
a weird
settles down.
fucked up version of like My Fair Lady or something. Like you have a project of a guy,
Drugs.
we will improve him.
My fair oxytocin.
Oh,
Yes, we will improve him by constant, like daily injections of hormone.
hormone injections.
So-
Like you.
So, what I was thinking, right, is that I feel like what Infinity has done is probably based her understanding of how people form these attractions on her knowledge of animals, right, which she definitely has.
Yeah.
So she's like, oxytocin, that makes sense. So she's created this little
Such
love.
a little love me drug. Just like,
Love me.
But it's a mix, right? It can't just be oxytocin. There's oxytocin, but there's a bit of serotonin in there, and there's also some dopamine. You need that as well, right? Because you just need dopamine for everything. So
dopamine.
you've kind of calibrated this sort of thing based on your knowledge of voles, and you're using it to try and charm humans, and it works on some people but not others, which is where I guess the wisdom save comes in.
Yeah.
Because you might have calibrated it wrong for the person, right? Because
Yeah.
the science is not
Love
perfect.
that. Love
Yeah.
that.
Hey, I've got some. Do you want some oxytocin facts, which I
Yeah.
wrote down?
Do
forgot
I?
To say.
we do. That's what
Okay.
How many
Ox-
facts do you have? I want to do a countdown of them.
I've got about 4.
Fact number 1.
Oh, you're doing a count up?
Yeah, you do a count
that's
up.
safer.
Why did you
Yeah,
do it
yeah.
Sorry, okay, like
No, count up
now,
is
what's the difference,
good.
you know?
Because we might get stuck on 2, and then I just...
Fact 1.
Okay, fact 1. Oxytocin makes people find unknown people more attractive.
Oh.
So,
So
is
if
that
you're
like when
more
you fall in love with someone on the tube?
No, but this is if you
That-
fall in love
if
with
you
somebody
brand yourself full of oxytocin.
you already know, like, and you fall in love, say, but then what you're saying is you find strangers, additionally, also more attractive.
Good question.
Lovely segue, Simon. Thank you.
Fact number 2. No?
The first one is unknown, right? And that's irrelevant. I think it's single people. That's what's done on single people. The second thing oxytocin does is if you take men who are in a relationship, pair bonded men, right? If you like,
No,
and you stand them next to
relationships.
an attractive woman, right? You give them a load of oxytocin, they move away from the attractive
They
woman.
know.
Because they're
they're-
like,
They feel it. and they're
ramps
like,
up their
"Fucking
pair
hell."
bond. It's like, so I thought the other thing, the wisdom save might be that you accidentally get someone who's in a loving relationship, and they're like, no, I can't.
So you know the distracted boyfriend meme? What we have is boyfriend in the middle, and then the woman who he's like looking away from is attractive woman next to him.
And
the one he's turning towards
partner.
is loving
Actual
relationship.
partner. Yeah.
It's covered in oxytocin molecules.
Yeah.
The whole time.
Create the meme. I'll put it on Instagram. Go.
Science
Chat.
experiments.
Anyway, yeah, and the last ones are the oxytocin triggers dopamine systems. So basically, because the other thing is like, it's all very well being like, I inject you with oxytocin, but as soon as you do that, then it basically starts, all other shit starts firing. You start raising dopamine, serotonin goes off, so it's never just one thing. But you need oxytocin in conjunction with serotonin, so you have to have them both to get what I've written here is rewarding social interactions in rats. What that means, I couldn't possibly tell you. But, I mean...
I really like rats, and I find interactions with
great.
rats very rewarding.
So the thing is, the reason I've written that down is because you can't just have oxytocin, right? You need dopamine and serotonin as well to make it all work. So Infinity, your like injection of whatever it is has got to be dopamine, oxytocin, and serotonin.
Why? What happens?
And
if
maybe
you
some
don't have that?
vasopressin inhibitors. Yeah.
Okay, so
I really like that.
in terms of administering this stuff, because obviously this is normally an internal process, can you aerosolize it? Can you drink it? Like
You wouldn't want to aerosolize it, right? I mean, that is like-
I'm thinking, what if instead you go to a foam party at a club, but they just pump the flame full, and you go in, and you're just like, this is amazing.
No, everybody.
Effective, yeah.
I mean, essentially, you're just talking about giving everybody MDMA in the club. Like,
Yeah.
that's fine, right? They'll probably
question.
already be on it. What?
Really important question, right? This is an experiment we need to do. Say you have a single person and then they experience the oxytocin thing with one person and it's singular because of the directionality of it.
And they're not with someone else, so it's two
And they're not
single
with
people,
someone
they
else.
have the oxytocin thing,
Yeah.
fine.
And then they're like, oh, I like this person. But, it's not really, not a thing yet. They're not necessarily, they are bonded now, though, because of the oxytocin. What happens with them if you then put, like, an attractive person next to them? Or they
Great
then like,
question.
oh, I've got high oxytocin. And because they've got high oxytocin, they're more ready to bond with someone. But then they maybe bond with too many people. Or, a great number of people, however way you want to look at it. I don't know.
Creepy.
More funding
I
needed.
honestly don't know.
Yeah,
That is,
more
yes,
funding
exactly.
Polyamory.
More research required.
Yeah,
But that's
and
a
what
good
happens
question,
in people
right?
in polyamorous relationships?
Because what the oxytocin thing does sort of raise an issue that, like, it seems to be in some way associated with a level of higher processing, right? At least something which is going to allow you to identify someone, which taps into all different parts of the brain than dopamine, which is just like, you feel amazing. So, yeah, I don't know. Good question.
I volunteer as tribute.
This also makes me think about like the difference between the feeling of oxytocin. Is that like this sort of loving relationship, and the difference between feeling like romantically attracted towards someone and sexually attracted towards someone, and the fact that like in demisexuality you don't really have that sexual attraction to someone until you're already, I guess, like emotionally bonded with them, whereas sometimes you can just be sexually attracted to someone and maybe that's got nothing emotional behind it at all.
Yeah, I mean, so the only thing I can possibly add to that is that testosterone is the kind of the Randy hormone. Like, that's the one
actually?
which.
It is.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Like, that's what gets you going.
That sounds like a very
In
women as
successful
well.
branding campaign by Big Testosterone. I'm not gonna lie. Welcome
I'm
to
just
the
a
Randy
pawn.
hormone.
Is that
it the same-
successful or bad? I don't know.
Is it the same in women as well? A testosterone?
I think so.
I think that's right. If you have higher
think
testosterone,
so.
you're more likely to have a higher sex drive. I think that's
But it's it's specifically about like wanting to have sex rather than wanting to be in a relationship or wanting to make babies or anything. It's just about wanting to rot. So yeah.
No, bonk, bonk, bonk.
Yeah, this is
bonk.
getting
Yeah,
a bit
sorry.
overly bonk heavy.
Bonk, not
now.
rut.
It wasn't.
Didn't need the word rut.
The rutting
No
hormone,
one
I think.
needs that. No one
Hey,
wants
also
that.
there's also but there is a difference in the MDMA. Sorry, I'm just back on. No, fuck it. We don't care about MDMA. Enough of that. Excellent.
He's not drugging people with ecstasy or MDMA.
We're not.
I have
It's
a
a
question.
separate thing.
The hormone cocktail. I like that.
I have a question about this hormone cocktail and infinity, because I can kind of feel like if you were a being who wanted social relationships and had this ability, is there Well, yeah. So what happens if Infinity drugs us to make us like her? Just hypothetically. It's okay.
What if she's done it already and you didn't know?
I know, right? Ooh. And like, is there a danger of it stopping working, or are you having to up the doses, or of it becoming addictive, and then we become addicted to Infinity?
Charm person runs out.
Charm person runs out in an hour, right? And the question is whether after your oxytocin like shot, it would run out if you just did a one stop like. Pfft. Now, obviously, it works with MDMA, right? Like if you take a pill, then 4 hours, you're not feeling great anymore. So, but as to whether you need multiple doses of oxytocin to build a sort of a long-standing relationship versus you can just have one massive blast and it'll last forever, I don't know, because it'd be very difficult to do that in a natural setting, right? Because you are constantly getting oxytocin from whoever you're with, your partner or your baby. So you couldn't do just a one-off blast and see if you retained that. Whereas in a lab setting, you can only check once, basically, because you can't keep people in the lab for like 2 days afterwards.
What about the moles?
Yeah, what about the moles?
I mean, by this logic, does this not mean that being in a long-term relationship is being addicted to someone? Because if they...
That's kind of what I was wondering,
There are loads and loads and loads of crossovers, and I did I should have looked it up like 5 or 6 years ago. I looked up how addiction and love, the system crossover that they have, and there's a lot of research into basically saying they're the same thing, like they just have they run on the same systems. So yeah, it is. I think you are being addicted to someone, and interestingly, I think there's work in how. Because there's work into how you can get people to come off addiction of drugs, right, without having to go through horrific come downs. And the idea is that you can apply the same methods to people coming out of long-term relationships. You can just be like, boom, no worries. It's eternal sunshine of the spotless mind, baby. Get out there. Have this testosterone booster. You're off.
Does this mean that Ed Sheeran was nearly correct, by the way? Because he talks about being addicted to the shape of you, but shouldn't it be addicted to the touch of you?
In love with the shape of you.
I thought it's addicted. Is it addicted? I thought it
I'm
was.
in love with the shape of you.
I think it's love, addiction.
You actually heard that.
To the shape of you. Maybe it says addicted somewhere else in the song.
Simon Hayes addicted.
I'll Google it.
It's the same.
Addicted to You love song. I swear there is a famous love song that has that in it.
He does have a song called Addiction.
What if
if chat was here, we would.
They
What
are
have you
here.
found
They're screaming
online?
at us.
They're telling us. Thank you for telling us, chat. We're still going to look it up.
It's like Addicted to Love by Robert Palmer.
He wrote a song called Addicted. Ed Sheeran has written a song called Addicted, but I've never heard.
I mean, it's Ed Sheeran. That could be addicted to a number of things, to be fair.
Okay, I'm just seeing if Shape of You has the word addicted in. I'm in love with your body.
Research that we're doing.
This is
now.
great content.
Can't. So far, I've not seen anything.
We cannot
Keep
rule on the
looking.
scientific
Some of
accuracy
these
of Ed Sheeran.
lyrics are
We've
bad.
got time.
Okay, no, it's not in Shape of You, Simon. You're incorrect. Sorry.
I am sorry.
Okay.
We go.
Get him out of here. So, last bits, right? Last bits on the... So, this is all very well, right? Okay, you can get your chemicals in, etc., etc. But it's actually way, way harder than that. So this is where the whole thing slightly grinds to a halt a little bit, and I need some help trying to work out how it would exactly work, because you can't just inject. It's not like a tranq dart you can just hit someone in the arm with, right? Because dopamine, serotonin do not cross the blood-brain barrier, which is a barrier.
Be my question.
Ooh, damn barrier.
It's an evil thing. It's a great thing.
The blood-brain barrier is basically a layer of 3 different kinds of cells that goes around all blood vessels that run through your brain. So it stops anything in your blood getting into your brain without being basically vetted. And not very much gets through. So dopamine doesn't...
Is that why heroin is so addictive?
One of the reasons.
No.
Well, not the reason.
No.
But it gets into your brain.
Like water does and stuff like that.
Opioids get into your brain, basically.
Explains why people love Jane Austen so much.
Morphine and stuff. It all goes through.
Because they've got so many heroines in it.
Yeah, I got it. And I was trying not to make
That's
the joke.
probably what it was, and I was like,
You're like...
It's a real sign of a great joke when you had to explain it.
Yeah.
I know that one really landed.
I've ready another level. Oxytocin does cross the blood-brain barrier, but not as much as you would hope. But you can get precursors. So L-Dopa is a famous one. If you give L-Dopa to people with Parkinson's, they suddenly get a load of dopamine, they wake up. 5-HTP you can buy, right? You can buy just big tubs of it, and then that will get broken down into 5-HT, which is serotonin in your brain. Not that it does any of the stuff which serotonin you would hope does, right? It doesn't just make you happier. Which brings me to the next point. He said, garbling through this whole list of information that he's got. But crucially, right, you can, even if you manage to flood the brain with these 3 chemicals, right, just doing that isn't necessarily going to give you the outcome you want, because these chemicals are released in specific places at specific times to activate specific circuits. So just dumping a whole load of these chemicals on, you don't really know what that's going to do.
Okay, so you're saying specific places, specific times. Is there a way of like oh god, this is difficult, because like if you can take slow release pills, right? So you have the capsules that break down after a certain amount of time to release the drug slowly. So is there a way of like getting them in
timing it so that there would be
in
an
that kind of
order?
way? So they would time, but it would have to be very quick, because obviously it's also like an action
quick,
to cast a
yeah.
spell.
But you can get them in, right? So you can get past the blood-brain barrier by hitting someone in the spine, right? So you would have to hit them in the spine, and then that gets it into the CSF.
Little old lady.
Yeah.
You do that.
Or you get them in the neck, or, just in the
neck
head,
seems
right?
nice.
Like, just in the ear. So you
Up the
can
nose.
you get through that. Up the nose, yeah.
Yeah.
But in order to, and the timing wise, you can put them in molecular cages, which break down at a certain kind of timing way. So you can deal with the time. But in order to do the position, right, we're looking at, sub-millimeter level resolution in a brain which is the size of 2 fists together. So how do you find that? And the answer, I think, is
Nanobots.
instead of giving...
It's always nanobots.
It's always
In doubt,
nanobots.
nanobots.
Sorry, Karen. Ali.
I'm in the middle of a flow.
Take a break.
I'm not anymore. Instead of using just the chemical itself, what you do is you use the brain's existing chemicals, which is essentially what MDMA does, right? MDMA doesn't give you a load of serotonin. What it does is it stops you from hoovering up all the serotonin that you release. So it's definitely being released in the right place, because that's where it was already. And you just didn't
good,
soak it back
yeah.
up. So you can so we've come full circle. You're basically drugging someone with MDMA, but modified to increase the amount of oxytocin versus the amount of serotonin versus the amount of dopamine.
Okay.
Okay.
I like
Nice.
it. Yeah,
I like it a lot.
I like it.
I mean,
Okay, brilliant.
So we can just add
approve
everyone like this.
morally. I just like
Yeah.
the explanation.
Not sure Infinity wants to cast that spell again. But,
Well, that's
God.
like any charisma caster, like just trying to play a bard in D&D and realizing that all of your charm spells are just completely morally awful.
yeah.
Especially like, I suppose like sometimes you could say, it's that or killing someone, so we're gonna go with this. But like,
Or they're going to kill
it
me
is
if I don't do it.
such a-
Like, okay.
such a-
But this was just a little.
people
little
use it a lot
woman.
out of combat because they're not.
It was either this or we
helpful
push
in
it down the
combat.
pit. All right.
Yeah, that was the other.
It's an interesting moral question for.
Dilemma,
Well, it didn't
which will
work anyway,
Let us never
so-
speak of it again. Oh, and also last episode, Cat Does Maths in chat said pheromones?
Yeah.
Question mark. So actually, we don't have the organs to detect pheromones. It's like one of those common sort of like
I thought we did.
myths that we have. We can.
I thought it was
respond
still
to pheromones.
controversial. Is it not still a bit?
No, we
So-
don't have
so
a
how does animals-
glomerulonasal organ.
But are we still affected by them?
We
So
can
maybe-
detect them. We can detect them, but we
Oh.
don't have the
You just said we
organ that
couldn't.
does
You
it.
said we couldn't. So we
So
can
wait,
detect
we
them.
can sense them, but we don't process them.
But we don't.
We process them. We don't sense them.
Something happened. Like basically, this is a really gross experiment. But androstadienone. There we go. Which is a pheromone. It's present. It's a chemical that's present in male sweat, right? If you put it on the upper lip of women, right? So you just get it on there.
Do a little.
It improves
little
their
milk
mood.
mustache.
Come here, love. Get your nose in there. I'll cheer you up.
Put your nose in my armpit.
It
I mean,
clearly does have an
yeah.
effect, right? It's just we don't have the organ which all other mammals have to make it
But
work.
do animals not
So how it
smell
works is different.
pheromones? I assume that they went through the nose.
I mean, they're putting it there, so that is a
Is it
very.
not a
like,
I think
glomerulonasal
so, right?
organ?
it's inhalation, right? It's just taking them into the body somehow, I guess.
Yeah.
That's
I think we're all
yeah,
guessing
it's-
here, but yeah.
yeah. It's not like you can get them. Yeah, they're not going to be in a concentration high enough to into the bloodstream and then get to the brain and have like a drug effect. So it will have to be something to do with like a smell-induced effect on the brain, but we don't have the organ which connects the smell to the effect on the brain, according to the...
Okay.
But it still seems to have worked, so maybe that's all bullshit.
Yeah, it still does some. Maybe we just haven't found the bit of
Maybe
the brain.
that's
that
vestigial,
actually does it
though. In the same way that might have been useful to our ancestors, in the same way that hind legs were useful to whales' ancestors.
Yeah, because dogs go around sniffing bums a lot, right? And we don't do that in the same way. We don't need the same cues, social cues.
Some of us do.
Yeah. Wait, what?
Yeah,
Are we not
I
meant to do
don't
that?
know.
Oh, no wonder I'm single. Anyway,
Suggestibility, mates.
This is how the dopamine, oxytocin-fueled foam party will end. Everyone is just sniffing everybody's butts and weeing on lampposts.
But in a nice way, like a really friendly
It's
way.
bonding. It's lovely.
I thought I read something about pheromones that I might be making up, where you're attracted to pheromones that are like different to your own, and part of it was
For
like
genetic
for genetic.
diversity.
Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
I've heard that. I don't know if that's
I don't
true.
know if that's
I'm going to find out right now. No, I'm not, because that case is going to
Not right now, we don't have time.
Research.
No, we're gonna move on to the even more depressing.
right.
This wasn't
Second
depressing.
part of
It
Yeah,
was
this
just
was
morally
about the happy
questionable.
chemicals. Now we're ready for
Well,
the sad
talking
chemicals.
of smells, if you
Oh,
smell
yeah.
pheromones, talking of
smells. Oh, this is great. Oh, it was a
that was
segue.
So, if people missed this earlier on, basically, the other thing that happened in the show that we wanted to talk about was a smell, which was lavender, if I remember rightly, was given off by Infinity, Infinite's character, and
given off.
given off.
Deliberately released.
Potpourri
like,
robot.
not.
Yeah.
She
Yeah, slowly released.
could be very careful about what language you use around this. Yeah, gave off
Emitted.
the smell.
The smell was emitted.
And neither of our two characters, Tenebris or Uriel, recognized the smell, which made me wonder what smells are going to go extinct. And
It's already sad.
now,
That.
so this is like, it's an interesting aspect that I just never considered of climate change, and that's the context I'm basically looking at this through. We're looking at long-term changes. We're humans, so we're going to have to deal with climate change. This is a great week to talk about this. Well, filming this anyway. We filmed this the week of the IPCC report.
Damn you, future selves.
Well, damn you, past selves. I think you mean like,
Yeah.
damn you, Exxon.
Generations.
Yeah.
Is that going to be just a side note? You know how like there's like a subgenre of time travel where it's like, should we go back in time and kill baby Hitler? Like that kind of thing. Should we? In the future, are people going to be like, should we go back in time and murder Exxon, murder Shell?
Like the number of people you'd have
Concept
to alter in order to stop climate change, right?
Yeah.
Maybe
it's the whole
video what's going to happen and go back to like the 1900s. and be like, "Stop it."
Evidentially, it's not working. People know what's going to happen, and it literally, like, that's like right now we know, and no one is going to do anything about it.
What if we
Like,
could go
obviously,
before the Industrial Revolution and do it?
They'd be like,
If they
what
don't-
is
if they
this
won't do it
moving
now-
image? How
Yeah,
are you
exactly.
doing it? You witch! Burn the...
No,
But that's one of those time
paradoxes,
paradoxes, isn't it? Because we'd never reached the stage where we could actually be
Invent the time
advanced enough to go
paradoxes,
back
isn't
in
it?
time.
No,
You
not
know
We
what?
haven't
I feel
done
like
the
there will be
revolution.
time to talk about time travel in this
you,
in later levels.
If you were to go back and
No,
say
there won't.
people-
There is none in this universe.
If you were to go back to people and say to, like, I don't know, Volta or somebody, like at the very start of electricity, being like, hey, if you like tied this up to a windmill, that's infinite free electric. Well, it's not infinite. It's free electricity. Put that coal down. Like, there's probably like a point in the timeline that you can insert specific technology.
someone else is going to come.
There's
along
already
and be
massive-
Like, oh, coal.
Because coal is already around by then, right? So there's vested interest in keeping coal going,
Okay.
right? So Volta's going to
Yeah.
come to a sticky end pretty soon.
Well, the thing
And
is,
that
Go back,
windmill.
we
it's
stopped
just-
dinosaurs ever evolving to try and get rid of any like breakdown of energy.
Because all
no.
coal
We
is
make sure there's no
dinosaurs,
life on the
yes.
planet ever.
it's
and
not
then
coal.
there'll not
It's,
be any
it's not
man-made-
dinosaurs. Coal comes from about 90% of the coal that we burn comes from one fossil laying down of dead
you
trees.
mean to stop the coal
Really?
ever
Okay, so kill the
existing?
trees.
So it's what's
Kill
called the
the
coal
trees.
forest, which is it was like, it's not Lepidopterus. I can't remember the name of the particular tree, but basically this tree evolved that was the first one that had a specific protein in its bark that bacteria couldn't break down. Like the bacteria hadn't evolved that could break down the bark. So when the trees fell, they just piled up and up and up and up. And there's this huge layer of coal that, well, what eventually became coal that was then buried, compressed, and formed into carbon-rich coal. So it's this particular
Cut down
species
all the
of-
trees.
Yeah, so we've got to
That's
stop
so
that tree
cool.
from evolving, basically. Just
Yeah,
got to sneeze
okay,
on
great.
it or something. I've
That'll
seen The
definitely
Simpsons.
work.
Yeah, my work here is done.
Goodbye. Which means like, what?
Then you go back, you go back into the future, like the
burning.
fish people are in charge, and you're like, oh god, this is why we didn't do this.
Also,
Anyway,
solve climate change.
back to smells.
That
So
would be so funny if.
basically, like when we're talking about smells, there are like kind of I'm looking at this as there are two kinds of sources, if you like. You have artificial and organic sources of smells, basically. And if you think about it, like artificial smells, technological smells, are already going extinct all of the time. Like, how many kids now know what a Polaroid smells like, for example? Like, that's a unique smell that has been lost. In the future,
Whale oil.
like, or whale oil, or, you know, but stuff like chalkboards, diesel.
What does a Polaroid smell like?
You know, like, it's like that warm kind of, how would you even describe it?
Chemically.
Can't describe
I don't know. I don't know what a Polaroid smells
And that
like.
actually
Oh,
is another
okay.
point, actually, when it comes to smells, is like, how do you preserve something? There are basically scientists who are doing this now. They are preserving smells.
They're a smell
That's
bank.
amazing.
It's the they're
Sorry,
lipstick,
sorry.
a white Valentino bag. Right, so basically, there isn't an equivalent of the seed bank, but because I'm quoting here from, I think this was a BBC article actually. In 2003, UNESCO adopted a convention to safeguard intangible cultural heritage, which includes social practices, oral traditions, and performing arts. But smell is nowhere on there. There is a perfumer in the south of France who is on that list, but smells are not considered like something that you preserve.
Is anyone else getting this image of like a huge arc in Reykjavik or one of the places like Svalbard, right? Which is just room after room with walls with scratch and sniff pads on them that you just.
Well, that is a thing. So I just read the Anthropocene Review by John Green, which is this collection of essays, and one of the things in that is scratch and sniff books. And there's an interesting point that there will probably be a time in the future when a smell has completely died out, and the only recollection of it will be a scratch and sniff, which is like an artificial representation of the smell. So in the same way
Is
that
it
like
not even the real smell?
so no, because like in the same way that if like prawns went extinct and nobody ever had a prawn cocktail again, you could still make prawn cocktail crisps, and people would think that was what a prawn tasted like.
It doesn't taste anything like a prawn.
But surely you could replicate it exactly if you analysed a smell and worked out all the exact proportion of different chemicals, and then drew out the chemical formulas, and then like one day in the future, like, all right, I'm going to make exactly this. Surely it would be exactly the same.
So
Wait, that may not be true, because what if it's the full? You need more than just the smell input to get the full.
Then it's not
like
the smell.
Does it? But the smell of an apple probably smells different if you're not looking at an apple.
that is also true. Yes.
There are ways you can affect what things smell like by.
Oh no, changing the colour of it.
Like your
It's like
baby's
with
poop
red and
probably
white
smells
wine.
different to you than it does to us, because you're evolutionarily wired to be like, this is amazing. Whereas
You'll get COVID and not be able to taste or smell anything.
I just wish I had COVID to not say smell this. No, but I mean like. Taste, not taste. No, scratch that.
So basically, there's two techniques that they're currently using, which is firstly you can expose like a polymer fiber to the smell, and then it soaks in the compounds, and then you take that in the lab and you do like gas chromatography and mass spectroscopy to identify the species. But I think there's probably going to come a point where there are so many chemical compounds present in a smell, you could miss one of them, and suddenly it's a completely different smell.
Baby poop.
And the other one is basically just directly sampling it, and that's something that they actually use in the perfume industry, I think, at the moment.
What do you mean? How do you?
So this is just saying.
Taking
Oh, you
the
mean
flower.
to preserve it and preserving it? You mean?
But also like different, so because volatility, right, of chemicals is affected by the temperature in which they're in, right? So so an apple doesn't smell the same if it's hot or a cold day. Like, so presumably, like different things don't just have one smell; they have a fucking shitload of smells that could be associated with.
And that is probably the most depressing thing that I came across, which is that because of climate change, the world is already smelling different.
No, I hate this. No, I hate this.
No.
And there are two factors to this, basically. One, we are not aware of, because it's in the sea. The acidity of the sea has changed to the extent that it's changing the shape of olfactory chemicals. So when fish or marine species perceive a smell, it smells different now than it did 50 years ago.
Wait, the actual? Do you mean the fishes olfactory, like
No, as in like when they smell a chemical in the water, the extra abundance of H+ ions is slightly altering the shape that chemical forms. So when it is perceived, it's different. And the example they gave was like when a crab lays its eggs, it will just smell. If I remember rightly, it was like covering over the eggs at a particular like instance, and they have to smell when that's the right time to do that. And that is being distorted by the seawater being more acidic. And so they're like, the biological processes are starting to change because of the extra acidity.
Wow.
So that's depressing.
But it does mean that crabs will inevitably evolve to have better senses of smell.
And everything evolves into crabs eventually. Which is, what's
depending
the name
on how
for that?
quickly it happens.
It's like Carcer something. It's when everything... There's this term for the fact that crabs have evolved like 3 or 4 times completely independently.
No way.
Really?
Because it's like the most efficient way you could make a life form.
Well, go sideways.
Are you saying that like
The side go sideways.
Are you saying
not all crabs, because you've got like horseshoe crabs. They are completely different. Hang on.
they're also completely different. So
Yeah, they're not.
I suppose those are the basic crabbiness.
Yeah, it's carcinization. That's what it's called.
What is the
What does that
crabbiness of
mean?
a? What do you have to do to be considered a crab?
Right, hang on.
Or crab-like.
Here we go. It was stated by Borrowdale in 1916. Wow, this is deep crab. Carcinization consists essentially in a reduction of the abdomen of a marcurius crustacean, together with a depression, same, and broadening of its cephalothorax, so the animal assumes the general habit of body of a crab.
What? Is that basically it gets a bigger belly and...
Oh, actually, no.
Wells
So
outwards.
there are
It's
in a 2017 paper.
wide.
The carapace is flatter than it is broad, and it possesses lateral margins, so flappy bits on the edge, I guess.
Like crimping on a
I'm going to
pie.
make myself a crab while you do it.
The sternites which are the ventral portions of the thorax, are fused into a wide sternal plastron.
I don't know how to do
I don't know what that is.
Well, that's painful.
Which possesses a distinct emargination on its posterior margin. I have no clue what that means. This sounds like that sketch from Rick and Morty where they're talking about the plumbus. The pleon is flattened and strongly bent, in dorsal view completely hiding the tergites of the 4th pleonal segment.
No, I feel like I'm a crab already. I don't.
Yeah.
So basically it's happened in king crabs, which are believed to have evolved from hermit crab ancestors. So they're deep cold sea crabs. Porcelain crabs are the ones with enormous claws.
Which are actually more related to lobsters, but have evolved to look like crabs.
Yeah. Hairy stone crabs, which look like hairy stones. And then hermit crabs, which... Did you know the coconut crab is a... Oh, God, I fucking hate coconut crabs. Is a form of hermit crab.
Do you hate them so much?
I hate crabs generally. I've got a bit of a phobia of them. Because
Everything turns into crabs, Simon.
I
This
know.
couldn't be worse for you.
Eventually, everyone will be a crab, Simon. We're all going to be
it's
crabs
like
one day, Simon.
they can hurt you, but I can't defend myself against you in a non-lethal way. Like, if I'm going to try and get you away from me, I have to kind of break your armor. I don't like it.
Okay.
Your own
That's quite a
empathy
sweet reason
is
to not
hurting
like
you.
something.
Sweet, I like it. Yeah.
But also
That I
pinchy
can't get
pinchy.
away from you.
I probably got pinched when I was like a baby by a crab, and I'm just like, fuck all of you.
It's like
Also,
dangling a
huge-
baby.
Like,
crabs.
did you have every possible tangent prepared for in this?
no.
That's the base.
This
Simon
was
is always prepared for
The crab
chaos.
tangent is always ready to go.
I feel like we're on like a platform that's been lowered down from below. We're like diving deeper and deeper. We've hit diamonds, and now they're like, right, pull us up, and we're going back up to the sea smelling level. So anyway, yeah, the sea is smelling different already because of climate change. But on land, plants are becoming less smelly. Basically, they're producing less scent.
Why?
No, I hate this.
Because
Why?
the world is getting warmer, and so it's causing the where they actually produce the scent on the flowers, like in the petals and in the sexual organs, to dry out faster. And so they are emitting. There was this study in Malaysia that is finding that they smell less now.
Is there anything which smells more to make up for that? Sewage, presumably.
I didn't see it in this study. I imagine because there will be areas that will cool relative to everywhere else in climate change. Like, it's not homogenous. But if I remember rightly, the cool spot is like Iceland. So if there's maybe like a plant species endemic to Iceland,
Send all the plants to Iceland quickly.
If you're trying to work out how smelly something is, do you just like grab a bit of air from next to it and then like count the number of molecules of smell.
Yeah, so there was this scientist who was doing this for different plant species, and he was describing how the intensity is actually really important. Like there was a wildflower that if it was like a 0.001% concentration, like I think by mass volume or something in an air sample, it was very pleasant. Whereas if you made it 100 times stronger, it smelled like bobcat urine. Like,
so just if it changed the smell fundamentally rather than just making it like too much to handle, it's like it's just a different.
You perceive it as being a different thing, rather than perhaps like a no. Oh no, that was it. No, it wasn't. It wasn't. It was a pleasant smell. It was part of the taste of Cabernet Sauvignon wine.
It's very important.
It's like
me.
It's like
I just
very.
had this thought that like the only way that you could measure smell would be one dude. Like who is nominated by the committee,
The smeller.
Yeah.
who goes over and just like that's an 8. And
Well, I'll get to that. I'll put a pin in that. And I've got one more point.
Oh, right.
I'll return to but basically the super depressing thing, and this was actually shocking to me even after this week, is that 40% of plant species are currently at risk of extinction. So 2 in 5. And a third of all flowering plants are expected to be extinct by 2050.
Sod off! No, I don't want that. I like flowers.
But if we think about the percentage of how the number of species that we smell on a daily basis, it's actually a few dozen, maybe flowers. Like how many flowers could you claim you could smell? The smell of.
But also think back, like because if you're looking at all the flowers in the world, right? There's a massive like density of different kinds of flower in the jungle, right? So all it would take is the jungle to go, and then you've hit your number.
That's probably where most of them come from, right?
But because there's 2 reasons why they could be going extinct. Well, there's a variety, but to oversimplify, there's the temperature forcing and changing your local climate, or there's a collapse in pollinators. So if there's no bees, you're not going to produce more flowers, basically.
Angry side note. It's not just the bee. Everybody thinks like, oh, pollinators, bees.
Bats.
It's bats, flies, like all sorts of different flying shit. Like, and everybody's like, oh, we'll just get some more bees in. No mess, no foul. But actually, it's all the other shit that we're killing.
It's also not just the kinds of bees that we can. It's not just the honeybees. It's all the other bees and the bumblebees and the
solitary bees.
I remember being told once it was like bats pollinate something like 60% of all of the species that are cultivated for food. That's not like it's not like
cultivated food.
No, not 60% of cultivated, 60% of the species that are cultivated for food. So that's like it's not like rice and wheat and stuff like that, but it's like niche species are often pollinated by bats.
But there are specific flowers that are intended to be pollinated by bats, and they're like really odd looking. They're like like some that sort of flower at night and have maybe they have sort of long thin tubes for their tongues or something.
To the fur as they go in.
Oh, there's that in Planet Earth where the bats go and, or is it little mammals, little monkeys, and they do the baobab tree and they just crawl all the way into the plant. This is a long thin flower, like you were saying.
I'd be terrified to do that to get.
It's little lemurs, actually. I think.
Imagine having asthma.
Wouldn't it be amazing?
You're going hay fever.
Why was I made this way?
And also because you're a lemur, you've got fucking huge eyes.
Think of the itching.
Damn you, God!
My tiny hands don't cover my eyes.
Oh, no, that's true. You're too small.
So yes, there's that.
Everything.
Because if people haven't read A History of Bees, there's an excellent book which is about a fictional collapse of pollinators worldwide and the state that would leave the world in, basically.
Sounds sad.
It's a very good book, really, really good bit of fiction, but it's like informed by science. But the other 2 notes that I had here was that going back to the scratch and sniff point, people aren't necessarily going to realize they've lost anything because, to give an example, I think of custard as being custard that comes from a packet. That is what tastes like custard to me. Yeah, powdered custard that you add water to.
That's the real custard.
Whereas real custard, obviously,
ambrosia in a tin.
Ambrosia in a tin is like all this sweet modern fancy custard. You get the powder and you mix the milk and
the alternative is you make it from milk and egg yolks and all the original
components.
You
actually just make it.
You actually make custard rather than the powdered custard.
But that, if I tasted that, I'd be like, this is weird. Whereas and I think that's probably the situation that a lot of smells would be in, where there'd be like an artificial rose or an artificial lavender, and they'd give them a real flower, and they'd be like, "Oh, what's What's
What is
this?
Imagine if bananas went
I was
extinct
gonna
and all
say,
you
is
had
it
was
bananas
banana
that keep-
flavored stuff, which
Oh, no,
doesn't
it's the
taste
stuff
anything
about
like
the-
banana.
But the famous story is that the reason it doesn't taste like banana is because we used to have an alternative variety of banana that was the main species that everyone ate, and banana flavor is that variety. And then that one, I've heard that one went extinct. Again, this could be another
Because like all the bananas we eat is one species, and they're all clones.
Yes, I knew. Yes.
because
they're
bananas
herbs,
don't have
aren't-
seeds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
But-
It's in these bananas don't have seeds. Presumably,
Yeah,
some
you can
bananas
trace
do
them all
have
back
seeds.
to like one banana.
If you look at original bananas, they're
seedless
fucked
banana.
up.
it's a cat. So the current one is a Cavendish
That's the one.
variety, and I think the there are other bananas around, but I think the flavor.
It's from
Question.
a different species. Well, anyway, just to sort of round off
oh.
this point in terms of like preserving stuff, the question then becomes what sense do you preserve? And because there's not infinite time and space, how do you choose which ones you preserve? Because I'd not really considered this before, but it is incredibly like specific to a culture. So the example they gave is what is the purpose of doing this? Is this to preserve culture and heritage? In which case, do you preserve the smell, quote, of a pub full of smoke and men and beer and disinfectant? Because that is like a hugely significant smell to tens of millions of people in this country, and that could disappear. And is that
but it
more
has.
valuable? Well, the smoke, yes,
Yeah.
has. But like, and you know, so for however many, you know, say 100 or 200 years that was possible that you could smell that, it was a huge part of people's lives. Is it more important to save that, or is it more important to save the smell of a honeysuckle or a rose or whatever it is? So you know, the idea of who gets to pick is actually a real can of worms.
You all get to pick one. Everyone gets to pick one smell that they want preserved. And if you don't preserve it, it's going. What's your smell?
Oh God, new book,
But this is
fresh
New
book smell.
book.
See, that gives me a
Nice.
headache. I wouldn't pick new books.
Really?
so. But
No,
are we?
no.
Wait. So, but we can also try and predict what other people are going to go for, right? So that we can be like, I feel like Rose is probably covered. You know, like
No, there are only going to be 4 smells left in the world, and we get to pick 4, and we each pick one.
And aliens and future civilizations will judge you.
I think
so we've got new book.
like it's
Gotta be
really
food.
basic.
It's got to be something to do with food, because if you have like as people will tell you,
Yeah.
if you're trying to eat and you don't
Frying
have the smell,
onion.
it makes a lot of difference.
Or
Frying
can we
onion or
modify
frying
that?
garlic.
Yeah,
Ooh.
garlic, onion, and like olive oil.
No, you can't. You can fry the onion in something, so I guess in olive oil, but yeah, probably fried
Does
onion.
olive oil have a
frying
smell though, or is that just?
I don't
the
think so.
sort
Oh,
of
not that I
idea?
You can tell if you're frying
Smell.
something else. Like if you're frying
Really?
other kinds of oil, you can definitely notice.
I think I might go like it's really basic. I might go vanilla. I love like actual vanilla smell. Like,
But
it's my
is it
favourite.
actual? Because remember, almost all the vanilla that we have is not vanilla.
What? Why?
It's because actual vanilla only comes from a particular place in Madagascar.
Okay, wait a second. But are we alive? Right. So if I want to,
I'm
if
sorry,
I
I'm
wanna
having an
s-
existential crisis.
if I want to smell, am I real? If I want to smell a person, can I just smell one of you three? Like, because that person smells are important too.
I was going to say is the other thing.
Oh, I
was
see.
like,
No, I
but
think
what if
everyone
wanna-
else is still alive.
But do they
Right.
smell?
Okay. So we don't.
You could have a baby smell.
They just no part of
partner
them smells
smell.
good. I mean, let's be brutally
Are
honest.
there any smells that are really important that like gas might be a good
Oh
one to
no! Oh yeah!
The
the
gas
can
doesn't
smell.
smell. They add the smell
Or
to
like-
the gas.
Oh,
pick? Okay,
Death
the
smell.
smell they add to the gas.
Burning. The smell of burning.
You could replace
Yeah.
the smell. No, you couldn't.
That was another
Smell
smell.
of burning,
There was a Mental Floss article about things that are smells that are already going extinct, and one of them was leaf burning, because it's becoming illegal to burn leaves in your backyard in places in America.
That's what
Especially
happened to you
cut
guys. Because you'd never met a wood burning fire, remember? So you wouldn't have never had the smell as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, it's been so relevant throughout this whole campaign.
Smells.
The smells.
So the point about vanilla, by the way, is synthesized vanillin. So it's like actually made in a lab, and there's other. I think apparently there's other
I like it.
compounds in actual vanilla in nature that makes it different. But it's like more valuable than gold, like actual vanilla. It's crazy.
Really?
Yeah.
I do. Yeah. Well, I like even the fake vanilla smell. I think it's really nice. The plant I would save is a plant called Chocolate Cosmos, which smells like chocolate, and it is amazing.
So sad that you can't save it because you already chose yours. Best.
I know I can't, but I chose vanilla. But I'm feeling like maybe I should change it to gas for like safety reasons. But
So sad.
Dominic, you've still got your.
I've still got
your
mine.
choice.
I'm going to be pressured into like doing all the like good ones that I have to do.
Yeah, Simon took
for the sake of
books.
the world.
Like-
I'm sorry, that is the best smell in the world when you open a new book.
No,
Food.
food, all food.
No, I
Smells
did food.
all food.
All
That makes
food.
Ali's onions really shit if you just picked every other food.
Fuck you.
And my vanilla, to be fair.
What is the best smelling food to prepare, actually? What recipe smells
onion.
the best?
I just
Onion
think
Onion and
onion
garlic,
just
man.
Crispy fried
fried
onions.
onion.
What about, like,
There's nothing
cookies?
else, Yeah.
I don't. They smell fantastic. Freshly baked bread smells fantastic, but
I just want to eat them all. I just don't want to be
I
smelling
think
them all.
you can come down in any mood to the kitchen, and if someone is frying onions, it instantly puts you in the mood to be like, I'm ready to eat. Brilliant. I feel good
Yeah.
about this.
Or bacon. Even being
Bacon,
vegan, I
close.
still like the smell of frying bacon.
can you? Does bacon smell?
Bacon tastes and smells very convincing now.
Oh,
Like you can get very
nice.
good bacon. Richmond, like as in the sausage company,
The
actually
sausage
do
company.
a really good fake
Amazing.
fake bacon.
Oh, nice.
Ah,
Go on, Shams. What's it going to be?
make a choice.
Make a choice.
Well,
Asparagus
so,
would.
onion is already existing, right? Because Ali's got onion.
Fried onion specifically.
More fried onion.
No one wants regular onion smell.
In which case, I might go with some sort of chocolatey smell.
Smell of chocolate.
We've got vanilla, chocolate, onions, and books. Wow.
That's not
Read
a
into
bad
that
life.
what you
Oh, I
will.
forgot about gas. Well, they can put, look, they're just going to have to put the chocolate smell into gas for safety reasons.
They're gonna be
Every time you smell chocolate, you're going to be like, oh shit, it could be gas.
I want to eat it so bad, but I could be about to die.
One of those two things.
You're gonna walk past a bakery and be like, ah!
Okay, chat, you also now get smells, so you're
Oh, yeah,
also
yeah,
now
yeah,
allowed
that's
to
fair,
save us
yeah.
from our
The
dreadful...
Willy
Yes,
Wonka
no.
factory is like the most anxious place on earth.
In Chamonix,
Oh,
In
new
Chamonix unit.
regime.
Yeah, just like,
Yeah.
Not only could I get minced into like an everlasting golf stopper at any moment, but there could be gas in this room. I feel like this is an oversight, possibly in our world.
That was a fun thought experiment, everyone. Thank you for indulging me.
But anyway, the world smells less now, and it's going to smell even less in the future. And we're gradually going to rocket towards a charred ball that will
Should we
mostly
all
smell of
start?
burning.
Should we all start collecting smells? Should we make that our new podcast? Smell
I still
collectors.
haven't really confirmed
Yeah.
how we do that. That sounds
Yeah,
like a
how is that
tricky
done?
thing to do from the descriptions.
So I think mostly it is the chemical imprint, like it's doing the spectroscopy on it.
I'd rather do, yeah. That's,
So
that's fine.
I have a little tiny bag at home that belonged to my godmother, and I've had it. It's a little paper bag, and it's just got some of her like bracelets and stuff in. It still smells of her, and if I ever like feel sad, I sniff it. And
Are
like,
you scared that it's running out? I have
yes,
that with certain
terrified.
things that
But
I'm
I mean, it's
constantly
been
like,
15 years. It's been 15 years, and it still smells like her.
Mm.
Because that is
I
another
never
thing.
take anything out
People
of it.
have a very distinct smell. Like I can normally tell my friends apart from,
Really?
like if I was blindfolded and
friends.
hugged
I
them, I
don't
could tell
think
the
I
difference.
could. I have a really
I mean,
bad
we never
sense
see
of
each other in
smell.
real life, so I couldn't.
I
tell.
don't know you people smell like.
Jesus,
No
yeah,
idea.
I hope
Yeah.
you guys smell good. Oh.
I assume you all smell fantastic.
I'm going to come smelling of onions to when we meet up next.
I'll come smelling
My
of chocolate.
My perfume does have vanilla in it, so I will smell a
Does
bit.
that mean that I have to come smelling of new books? I mean,
Yeah.
how do I even do that? Cover myself with glue.
If somebody
Buy a
could
book
make,
and rip it to pieces and glue its
bet
targets to yourself.
I bet somebody has made a perfume that smells of new book smell.
Oh, maybe.
Like surely that's a thing.
So, okay, I'm looking out.
Like if you can get a new car smell like air freshener, surely you can get a new book smell air freshener. Whether you'd want to wear
New
it or
book
not.
smell perfume.
I looked up the banana smell story,
yeah.
and like most people are like, "Yeah, it's definitely this," and some people are like, "There's no evidence for this. Someone's just made this up."
Right.
But then some people are like, "Yeah, but if you actually go and smell the, I think it's a gross Michael, or it's some old the other variety of banana that went nearly extinct. They're like, yeah, but it smells like fake banana." So
I hate
I
fake
think
banana.
there's some truth to it.
But there's probably going to be drift, right? Like in the same way that, like in the future, say, imagine that bananas go extinct and we're only left with the fake banana. Like, is that recipe going to drift over time? And like, what will it evolve into something that's completely different over a couple of 100 years? So it's actually
Recipe?
very different. And then if somebody were to sort of genetically Jurassic Park, but it's Banana Park, and you go around sniffing banana trees. Welcome
Well, maybe
to Jurassic
people
Park, and they
realise-
turn around. There's just a huge banana.
Yeah, you could improve smells. If no one knows what the actual smell is, and you're like trying to sell Polaroid smell, and then you realize that people like it more if you tweak it. Yeah, you could just like the drift would just be like, oh, but this is what everyone likes.
Yeah,
also, is there a like evolution thing? So when we smell stuff, I believe there's like millions of receptors that we have, and it's like certain ones go off, and then that's what tells your brain it's the smell. Yeah,
we have no. We have individual receptors for individual smells.
Right, but I don't think so. Like there isn't necessarily an onion receptor. It's like 3 of these individual smells that go off to tell you the smell of onion. Because I think it's a bit more like basic smell. I think.
I see what you mean. Chemical.
Because I think very few smells are one molecule. So I think each molecule potentially has a receptor. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. But I thought it was... I'm not sure. Anyway, but could you lose the ability? Could some of them like die out? Because like when you smell lavender, would it smell like lavender if the human race had evolved to not need to be able to smell lavender?
In my head...
So some of those neurons are gone.
These are spell slots, but they are smell slots. And you... fill them in as you first encounter a smell. So like the first smell you ever encountered is an index 0, and then like the next one
smell it.
What do you mean?
That's what basically
I'm saying you wouldn't. It would smell different because you'd be triggering some of it, but there wouldn't be a receptor for part of lavender because it's not needed anymore.
No, but what I'm saying is like when you first encounter a smell, your brain assigns that smell to this receptor.
If you have
that's what happens.
No,
I don't know. Is that how it works?
No,
that's my head.
Probably not.
But we can call them smell slots.
But we can call I see why for the fun it might seem worth it, but they are smell slots.
Your nostril. I'm gonna call nostrils smell slots.
Guys, I've used up my smell slots. Can we take a short rest?
But like dogs have way more receptors than us, which is why they can smell so much more things, so many more different things. So it's feasible that you could lose ones, and then
I wonder if there could be genetic drift, right? So that instead of like being actual evolution, you know, things just change at random, and then suddenly you end up being able to smell stuff that no one has ever been able to smell before. But it's completely pointless to your existence, right? It's like
this is the whole "what is red" question.
Yeah, exactly. What is banana?
By the way, I've got to say, has anybody else been looking at Ali's backdrop and waiting for the curtain to fall? Because
why is it moving by itself?
That pole is at a jaunty angle.
When we first started, it moved, and I was like, "Oh, backdrop's about to go," and it didn't. And then I've just been waiting.
What's happening?
Are you doing that?
Is that you?
I am.
He's got his foot on it. It's a curtain. It's a curtain. It's a rolly.
But I don't mean to do it.
Angle. Like it looks like it's going to slide off at any moment.
It's trying to green screen me in entirety. It wants to put me on the green screen, but I'm saying no. Go back to your no. Oh God.
Oh God.
Oh no.
Podcast listeners, this is
yeah,
carnage.
we're really
losing
the podcast audience at this stage, I think. Sorry, folks.
Well, we have. That was the 2 bits of science that we wanted to cover, actually.
We should probably wrap it up before we get too further distracted. So the things that we do before we say bye are saying what's happening next time.
There is no next time.
There is no next time.
Well, there will be a next time. It just won't be next week. There is. Don't be over dramatic, people. There is a next time. Nobody panic. No. There is a next time. It is in
Wednesday next time, isn't it?
It is Wednesday, my dude.
September 1st.
Yeah, just under 2 weeks' time. So please join us on September 1st. If you're watching live, we love that. We'll be back actually live in the present, but also still the past.
Yeah.
So please come say hi. And if you are watching on YouTube or listening to the podcast, that will be, as usual, a few days after the live show. In order to find out and stay updated about all these things, you have to follow us on all the socials. It's the rule.
All of them.
It's
Everyone.
the rule.
RPGeeks. Dun-dun.
We've also got a website in case anybody wants to go back.
It is a great website, and it does sort of encapsulate all of the other things that we have.
But what is
you can find the podcast on there. You can find the VODs on there. Yeah. You can find links to our socials on there. It's got everything.
It's really easy. It's rpgeeks.co.uk. I know because we own it.
Easy as that.
Own it. The internet.
We're also owning TikTok right now. And just round of applause, Sharmini.
Round of applause for Sharmini.
I just post clips, but it's going very well, and it's
very
nice. And people like a little science and D&D clips from the show, so follow us there as well.
Is anybody listening to this right now? Did you come from TikTok?
Yes, let us know if you did.
Are you a clock?
No. I'm so shocked.
What do they call people who use TikTok?
TikTokers.
TikTokers? TikTokers.
We're down
Anyway,
with the queue.
I feel like
We're down with the.
But actually, no, because you don't
before we embarrass ourselves further.
you don't have a name for somebody who watches on YouTube, I suppose. They're just viewers, right? So like, it's people who create that are
yes,
called
it's,
YouTubers.
it's got to be the creator.
Yeah.
And are you a
Yes.
TikToker if you create on TikTok?
Yeah, I think you are. I
I'm
think
not
TikTok
pronounced
works
like
well.
that necessarily because
TikToker.
that's a bit weird. But
It just sounds more. It's more pleasant in the
It
mouth.
makes sense.
TikToker. You got a
are you a
TikToker or
tweeter?
two.
If you tweet,
You're
A
a
tweeter.
tweeter.
are you a tweeter?
A tweeter?
Do you
You're
tweet?
just on Twitter.
Twitter river?
A tweets person, a tweetsman.
You're just very, very on
Okay.
Twitter.
It's
Yeah,
been
we should go, we
lovely
should go.
seeing you all.
Yeah. I
From
think
the
it's time to
past.
take Grandpa home. Thank you very
I
much.
enjoyed today. That was fun.
That was very good. Thank you very
We
much.
learned
It
lots
was
about
good.
drugging
Time in an alley.
people and smells.
So we will not be back next week,
Oh,
as Shamini
smell,
said.
so
We'll be back in
Said
2
that.
weeks' time on Wednesday. Yeah, I'm recapping. People have a very short attention span. Right.
On by now.
A TikToker.
We've been saying
Follow us
bye
on
for
TikTok.
5 minutes.
Oh, Pixelco, my fiance, was like, "When do you bloody end the show?" Like, because she watches when you're alive. And
We
she was
just
like, "We keep
jabber.
saying goodbye." Right, you know what? I'm calling it.
we got.
Bye.
Goodbye. We'll see you in 2 weeks.